Hello.
Hi. Marcia, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you, especially because to selfishly give a little bit of an introduction here. I literally just got back from Istanbul 2 days ago. So when I found out you were here, and I was like, oh my God, I'd never left the United States in my entire lifetime. So I was like, I'm so excited to talk to Marcia, because the concept of this film being an American abroad and knowing that was one of the stopping points for your film.
Yeah, we filmed in Istanbul. And
Yeah,
you have not seen the film, I assume, right?
I haven't seen the film yet, but I'm back and I'm going to support it at the actual festival. But when I saw that, I was like, wow, she went. I literally was in Turkey like days ago. This is super exciting. We were meant to meet. So I'm curious to hear about the inspiration of your film. Tell us a little bit about that, how it got in the hands of La Femme, and when did this story take root for you?
Well, lockdown. I mean, it's a great time. No, actually, what am I thinking? Wait, this is so wild. Because you know how time got compressed during the lockdown, you completely forget. Like that feels like a blurry year. Yeah, no, it came right at the end of the lockdown, basically going into 2021. I got inspired and I wrote it because I have always wanted to be a travel reporter and I haven't been hired as one. I've traveled to over 45 countries. So I wanted to write a story that I could relate to and go to these countries because I love traveling so much. And then I wanted to do basically an amalgamation of all the men that I have dated, which isn't a lot, but I've been single for a long time after being divorced, and they're usually younger. And they're not like the character Arnold. They're not as conservative. They're usually more rock and rollers, and that leads to disaster. So I decided to create a character that was more like Brian Gross, who took my scripts, and then it was a TV series before it became a film, and he rewrote them, and it was more like him. He's a lot more conservative than me, and he's very happily married. And believe it or not, when you watch the movie, his sister, the person that plays his sister, is his wife. So I say that because basically it's a romantic comedy about a relationship that starts pre-COVID. Then, of course, they can't date for over a year because they can't even see each other. And then they pick up, and it's about that first 3 months. And anybody that's dated, well, everybody's dated if you're married, and not everybody has dated. But for those that have dated, all of us know it's that first 3 months. And basically, she is such a whack job, and I am playing myself, but it's all lines. It's all lines that we have memorized. And last night was the opening of the film, and I have a hangover. So I am literally today really Marcia Kimpton, and it's a mockumentary, and I use my own name. I really am that character because I drank last night at the opening of the film of American Abroad. And everybody a lot of women came up to me and said they loved it because it really felt like the first 3 months, where I'm not sure, I'm going to like that. And will I stick with that? And I'm such a whack job, and he's conservative to make it interesting comedy. He's like, I don't know if I can handle this woman. I mean, she's into astrology, and she's now told me because she's on the cusp, and in the cusp changed for Capricorn and Sagittarius, that she can no longer date a Pisces, but she really wants to date me. So it's that kind of stuff that happened in the first 3 months, and I'm really, really proud of it. So.
You should be. I'm really excited to see this. You are such a character, and I adore talking to you. So I'm enticed to ask, what if you could tell us one little like behind the scenes story that still kind of makes you laugh or cry while making this film? Could you share one of those with us?
Well, so my favorite country is France, and I've been to Burgundy, and I love the Bourgogne wine. It's really, we call it Burgundy. It's a skit, and it's called Bourgogne. Okay, so my favorite, there's a few favorite moments that happen. The reason why that is my favorite is I truly did have to write a sign every morning saying, do not drink all the Chichon Montrachet before you leave. because while we're filming in my favorite country, okay, and my favorite wine in my favorite area, I would say Côte d'Azur is my favorite area, but my favorite wine is everywhere and it doesn't cost a lot. It was such a problem every night. And I just said, screw it. I'm just going to drink my bottle of wine every night. And I had the best wine, and everybody else woke up at 8 and I woke up at 6 and got on that running belt to get that sweat. I don't know how I didn't look like a wreck every day, but you know, the French wine, they don't have any chemicals in it and it's really good. And I was so happy to be there. So then we have to play this scene about being drunk, and we really edited it down. Like I said, it was a 9-part TV series and it didn't sell. So I repurposed it with a voiceover of Arnold as a male perspective and made it into a movie. And it's actually even better. And I'm so thrilled that it didn't sell, because it's really, it all came together when we put that voiceover. But so we cut down the moment that Marcia is reporting for her job as a travel reporter from France, and she has to taste all the wine. And we filled it up all with grape juice. And it's really hard to play drunk. It's one of the hardest things as an actor. So it was interesting. We cut, like I said, it was edited down for the movie. But I am like, really, I'm drinking slowly and I'm getting more drunk and acting. And we're taking a too long of a scene and improvising it into a shorter scene. Most every single thing was not improv. And it was really, really, really challenging, because I use, you have to know your lines. So what happened in the end is I'm doing this and I'm like, it was like, guys, do not take me out of character, because I will not be able to be drunk. I can't be the writer or the director right now. I got to stay in this drunk mode. And I tell you, everything in life is a state of mind. I swear to God, by the end of the scene, I'm like, wait, did I drink real wine? Wait, there was not real wine in there, right? No. So it was a really beautiful moment, because it was so close to heart. And actually, I don't get drunk, but I do love my wine, so I can get really buzzed. But I then, at the end of that day, had my wine again and put that note down, just like the movie. The movie has the note. And I pass the note every day. And my boyfriend, Arnold, says, why do you have that note? I said, well, so far, it's not working, right? I'm drinking every night. So that's kind of a little behind the scenes. I have so many stories. One I have to tell you that was so cool is that it was post-COVID and it's 2021, and a lot of people were not traveling then. There was nobody. I don't know if everybody remembers how empty everything was. So we got to Hedra, Greece, and I'm on a limited budget. I don't have extras. I couldn't even organize. I got one guy to play the waiter, a Greek guy, an actor I cast. And we just had to go up to people in the cafe and go, do you mind just moving over there to the right? We're going to be filming, and I'll pick up your breakfast. I'll pick up your coffee, anything. And people did it because the Greeks were so nice, and everybody along the way. But when you see some of these extras, with the exception of in Istanbul, when we do the astrology moment, we had real Turkish extras there. A lot of these were, hey, I'll just pay your bill if you could just be in the shot. And that's how indie grassroots it was.
I love it. I could talk to you forever. I want to make sure that people get to actually see your film. We don't have a teaser of your film to showcase here, but I want to make sure that we come and support you at the festival. So if you let us know when it's screening at the festival, and also, what are your future plans and how can we continue to follow and support your work after the festival?
Okay. Well, first off, I want to thank Leslie. She's amazing. She put my movie Bardo Blues, that's now on Amazon, where we won Best Film. And it really, the Femme Film Festival really did help my film. And then it also, she supports women filmmakers. And I just love that about Leslie. So I asked her, because I'm on such a busy promo schedule, I asked her to do it on the day of the awards. So it's on October 19th at the Regal Theater, as you know, on Olympic, downtown LA. Great theater, great theater, from 12 until 2. It's a 1 hour and 45-minute movie. Hopefully you don't think it's too long. I do want to do the plug that at Kimpton's World Travel and Comedy channel, the YouTube channel, or my Facebook and Instagram, which is just my name, Marcia Kimpton, that we have all the trailers there for the film. And it is on Amazon now. I don't think that I realized when I was lucky enough to get into Femme Film Festival. But it's also going to be virtual. So, if you're doing the Femme, you want to support Femme and not necessarily Amazon. So
I love that. Well, thank you for chatting with me today. And you're amazing. Thank you for bringing your work to this festival again. It's important and hilarious. And I usually button it up with a quick fire question, which is coffee or wine on set, but I feel like you've answered that for me.
Definitely wine at the end of the day.
I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Thank you, Renee. You've got great energy too. And again, La Femme is supporting. I am a writer, director, producer, and actress. And us women only get 10% of the jobs in directing. Still, 90% go to men. So again, big plug to Femme Film Festival, because us women need to get more jobs in the entertainment business.
We do indeed. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm muted. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Yes. But Renee, I think that
Renee, I think you're muted. Okay.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Sorry about the technological glitches. We'll edit that out of the segment later. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to talk to you. So this, I hear, is your first feature film. You're the director, the writer, the producer, lead actress. So you weren't really busy making this film. This was a small task. Please tell me a little bit about your inspiration, what it feels like to be a part of this festival, and tell me about the message of your film, the call to action about it being in a festival like this.
First, Nasim Mariam Kiani Vardanian. I am director, writer, producer, and Mariam is another writer, another producer, and lead actress. Just want to make sure that everything is clear here. And Mariam and me, after one of our short film a couple of years ago that we collaborated with each other, just get so close and closer because lots of things in common, especially our goals and some of our concerns for a long time. And this film and what we wanted to produce is one of our boldest concerns in our life, women and children. And we started just one night when she came to my home, sit on tables, and just after our dinner, she talked to me about her idea to make a film in Armenia, in her hometown. with a very low budget movie. She explained everything, talk, and then with all materials, all her ideas and dreams that she talked about, something sparked in my mind. And in that night, we start brainstorming, and it started right away. I think in uh, January, February 2024, I believe. And yes,
And Miriam, will you talk to us a little bit about your experience being a part of this process?
Oh, I enjoy every single minute from starting until now, because it was a privilege for me to work with Nassim Kiani as a director, because in my opinion, we as an actresses or actors, we want to have a director who's there for you 24/7, no matter what. And she's that director who was there, who guided me all the time. It was a pure joy for me to work with Kiani, because she did everything for me to answer all my questions, because we as an actors is we always have doubts, we have questions, we are so nervous. I remember first day I was trembling on set, but being next to Kiani, or she was extraordinary, and I'm very blessed to work with her as an actress. So I think that's the key point for me, that I really enjoy being in the movie. And of course, my country, and then people that I have met that I never met before. I work with them, the experience. We have beautiful people, we have ups and downs, but it's all end up having this beautiful, magical piece that we call Shakar.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I do apologize for my mic was rubbing a little bit, and I wanted to make sure that we got clarity in your answer. So I apologize for that. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I'm curious if you'll both speak a little bit about how you see your film being part of the larger cultural conversation of women filmmakers, and the importance of it living on a platform like Let Them Film Festival.
I am going.
The subject is very global. It's not a small subject, and it's a universal subject. It doesn't have any culture or any religious or any belief. It's just this is the subject that all humans have to be aware of, or they are aware of, obviously. And I think this movie is very important, regardless of which country are you coming from. And that's why we want our voice to be out there, and we want to support with our movie as much as we can to those who have the needs, because we as a filmmakers, we must be there for those who have needs. And I think this movie have that power, and we want to go forward with that. I think that's one of my beliefs.
Yeah, I really love that. I think, part of my draw to the work of this festival is that we are so culturally diverse, and I think there's a muting of BIPOC stories that are happening, and to know that our stories are universal stories. But I had recently seen an interview with America Ferrara, who had explained that still so much in our industry, any cultural diversity seems to be the obstacle, and to have a protagonist's voice simply be culturally diverse should not be an obstacle. It should just be a story that you're sharing. So thank you for clarifying your message of why your film is important, without exemplifying that divide. I so appreciate you guys both being here. I'd love to hear when your film is screening, in particular at the festival, so we can come and support you. And then also, what's the future for you guys and your film after this festival?
Would you like to say that, Nassim?
Yeah. Okay. Mm, What I want to say. Could you please repeat your question? Thank you so much.
No problem. Sorry, I talk a little bit in circles. I want to make sure that we watch your film at the festival. So if you'll let us know when it's screening at the festival and what is the future of this film beyond the festival.
Okay. It is a Friday, 17th, October 17th, 4 to 6 p.m. And we are going to festival circuit, but not probably for a long time. And we after that we have a plan to release it theatrically in theater, release it in theater. Because we've got lots of feedback that it is very, very good movie to be seen in theaters and big screen. Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing your incredibly important voices to this festival. It was an honor to have you guys on here. And I look forward to checking out your film.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you. Have a lovely one.
You too. Hi, Meredith. Can you hear me okay? I have a muting problem, so I want to make sure we're good.
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Yes, yes.
Perfect.
I'm excited to talk to you. Is this true? This is your first time director, screenwriter, and producer, and boom, you're in La Femme Film Festival. That is amazing. I want to hear a little bit about your journey, and because this festival highlights women's voices in the industry, I'd love for you to just talk about your experience of showcasing your first time work here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm just so excited to talk to you and so excited to be part of this festival. I was in the theater world and I was an actor, director, producer, writer in theater for a long time in New York. And after coming to LA, my big passion has become telling truthful, impactful stories about women in martial arts and action. That's my background. I'm a martial artist, and I'm super passionate about those stories. And yeah, I was so fortunate to have the team that I had bringing this together. I had two amazing co-producers who they're also good friends of mine. And one of them likes to joke that he kind of bullied me into doing this because I had wanted to make a movie for such a long time. And so, so that's what we did. So with the help of my co-producers, I built out the rest of the team. I put the short together that's a proof of concept for one of my feature films, and we were off to the races. And it's still a learning process for me. So this will be my Los Angeles premiere.
I'm so excited for you. So I'm curious, since this is sort of your first experience launching into this, like if your film had a message or a call to action, what would it be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thematically, my film is really centering around the idea that women are often villainized for choosing themselves over perhaps what other people would want them to do, or perhaps what other people think that they should be doing with their lives and their bodies. And so, the film really echoes this thing of your family or your destiny, that being something that's often a problem for us, or just, So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. So if this may be a challenging, but I have a few kind of quick fire questions for you
Yeah.
in regards to your film. If there was one word to describe your film, what would it be?
Oh, one word, huh?
Maybe two if you need it.
Okay, give me 1 second. I have a couple of words that popped into mind. Could be polarizing is one word.
Ooh.
You know, hard hitting is another word, metaphorically and literally. Yeah.
That would be a good log line for Marshall's film. See, these are why I ask these things.
Okay.
Can you give me one word that would describe you as a filmmaker?
Oh man, just, I mean, passionate. Hopefully that's not a cliche, but just really passionate about the subject matter that I'm working in. Yeah,
I think that's a great answer. You know, we have to have, I think, a pull to purpose. I mean, part of the reason why I feel such an honor to be a part of this festival is I think there is a need of the time right now to amplify female voices. And yes. So, you know, it may seem cliche for women to be passionate and want to amplify their voices, but let's do it. Let's bring that cliche to the forefront. If it has that reputation, like, I think it's an important one to have. So I'm excited to support your film. I'm curious if you'll talk a little bit about what is the bigger picture? What is your next vision? What's next for the film after this festival?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've just started our festival run. We had our New York City premiere a couple of weeks ago, and now we're premiering on the West Coast. This is also doubling as a proof of concept for my feature film of the same name. So as we're going along in our festival run, we're hoping to make meaningful connections and meet producers, financiers, people who are really interested in the subject matter, who are really passionate and are not scared of this polarizing film, to help us bring it to life.
I've noticed Caitlin Davis has joined us in this conversation. How are you? I'd love for you to piggyback on Meredith's comments about this film. How does it feel to be here at La Femme Film Festival? What's this like for you?
Oh, it's so exciting. Thank you so much for having us. It's like thrilling. It's our LA premiere. We're here. We're like so excited to share this with our friends and family. And Meredith's written such a like beautiful, compelling, edgy piece, and it's like really important right now more than ever. It's a tough time in the world. It's a tough time in the industry. But I think it's like so wonderful to really be in the trenches, showing people that these stories still deserve to be told and they deserve to be made. And hopefully we're going to find those people.
Yes, I hope you find these people at the festival. And if you will let our audiences know when you guys are actually screening at the festival itself, and then also how can we continue to follow you and support your work beyond this festival and this interview?
Yeah, so we'll be screening October 17th. That is a Friday evening at 6 o'clock in the 6 o'clock block. And to follow us on social media, we are at BlackRose_movie on Instagram. So you can follow us there, or you can follow me personally at Meredith Allen, also on Instagram. Caitlin, I don't know if you want to give your personal IG, but that's how you follow us.
Yeah. Just don't give like your home address. No,
no, absolutely not.
Follow you online. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm the Caitlin Davis on Instagram, and we can drop those in the chat too. So would love to connect with everybody.
Thank you, ladies.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you being here, and we're excited to support Black Rose at the festival.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, of course. Have a great night.
Right.
Hi, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, got
Yeah.
good.
Awesome. I'm excited. So, in full transparency, it's been so exciting to be asked to interview so many of the filmmakers here. But there are so many of you, and I haven't been able to view all of the films, but I had the blessed opportunity to be able to get a sneak peek at Forever Caroline. So I'm excited for you guys to talk a little bit about this story. It's sort of creepy and spooky, and what inspired the idea, and how did it get in the hands of La Femme?
Well, I'll speak a little bit just about, there are two people on the in this team, Kendra Morgan and Sierra Harper. These girls, we were working on a feature film over in Kentucky, and they had an idea for this piece, and they wanted to bring these characters they had written to life. So we came up with this story about these two girls with this kind of ghost story, and just shot it right after production wrapped on the feature. And we went right into shooting this short, and gave them a chance to, showcase their acting ability and do a female focused led story, and just a lot of fun. And then that evolved into finishing it, and now we're getting into all these beautiful festivals. So much love has been there, and Kendra's here. So yeah, it's been a great time. So, and we're excited to premiere with you guys in the West Coast, and here we go. So yeah. Kendra, do you want to add a little bit too?
What was the question? I missed it. I didn't hear it.
Oh,
It's sort of what was.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Renee. No, Renee, go ahead. You asked
Honestly, Maxwell, I was like, oh, I need a sip of water, so you could take this. No, we were just talking a little bit about the inspiration for this film, your role in this project, and kind of like when the story took root for you. Just sharing your experience about being a part of this film and getting it into this festival.
Okay. Me and my best friend, we were from small town Kentucky. We started acting. We don't get a lot of like the support behind us here, just because it's small town, so they don't think that we can do things like that here. So we wanted to really, especially being women, like we wanted to get our voices out there, get our dreams out there, and show everybody what we could do. So we started writing this. We kind of wrote like a little shorter version of this, and then we met Max, we met Derek on another project, and brought everybody on board.
Wow, I'm impressed with this work. I'm wondering if you all could speak. Maybe Derek could take the baton for this as a producer. Kind of what is the message or the call to action for your film?
So the film really revolves around trauma, addiction, and a night gone horribly wrong. And there's much that resonates with the film, I think, with a very large swath of audience. So the relationship that the two main characters have and a supporting character have, I think really will resonate with a lot of people. So it just has to deal with our own personal decisions that we make and how it affects those around us. And when I was presented with the opportunity to kind of help make this dream happen, I jumped at the chance because I saw the drive and initiative and desire to create from these two ladies. And with Maxwell on board and our director of photography, Lucas Miller, there's no way we could go wrong. I was happy to jump on board and be a part of it.
That's amazing. This film is really special. I'm curious. As a creative, we're oftentimes inspired by others, and I'm wondering if the three of you could speak a little bit to. Is there another filmmaker or film or that currently has been inspiring you or was part of the creative move to make this film?
Kendra, why don't you go first on that one?
I don't know. There's so many. Max, you take this one.
Well, I want to comment on, I'm seeing a lot of independent horror films coming out with a lot of female-focused voices, and I think we haven't seen that as much. You know, my buddy just interviewed the director of that film, Bone Lake, that came out, and that's got a amazingly strong visionary behind it. And I like that there's just more variety in stories coming out as opposed to all the traditional horror films that we've had or thrillers. I like that this one feels so complex because it's dealing with addiction. And even though we've, disguised it around a horror film that, it's a ghost story, there's all that, there's a lot of heart in there. And I think that really comes from the girls bringing their own experiences, their own voice to it. And I just love seeing that. I love seeing the variety that we're seeing. And that's why I'm excited that Femme is a showcase for that, for female voices that maybe you wouldn't have heard 5 or 10 years ago. So yeah, I mean, that we talked a lot about a lot of different horror films and thrillers, and Kendra has a lot of favorites, and she's, I think we tried to do something unique, but at the end of the day, we're trying to also be respectful of people that this is based on, because there's a lot of truth underneath this story. So trying to balance that between the genre film and disguising it was our goal, and I think we did it. So I know I didn't mention any film, but I'm just really inspired by a lot of the films I'm seeing coming out from both sides. So yeah.
I think that's a great answer, and sometimes it may not be a particular thing. It's more of I think we're inspired by kind of what the universe is showing us. So I love that. I'm wondering if you guys could, we could button up this conversation by, I'm dying to know, like, what kind of advice would you give to emerging filmmakers, but also female filmmakers? Like, how do you carve out that space for yourself in this industry, or advice?
That's all you can do.
Yeah, Kendra, you take that one.
I think just not being scared to go for it. Be persistent. Make the connections. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Throw your ideas out there. Ask for help. There's a ton of people that are willing to help. Find people who are wanting to create like you are, have the same drive as you, but just being very persistent and not giving up.
I love that. Well, how can we want to make sure that we support you at the actual festival? If you'll share with our audience the night that you guys are actually screening, so we can make sure that our butts are in the seats to see your film. And then also, if you'll give us a little bit, like, how we can continue to support you, follow you on social media. How do we stay connected to your future work?
We are being shown October 17th. Derek, do you have the time frame?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. And then we have Facebook and Instagram. It's Forever Caroline. And we can drop that in the chat here if that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really excited to show it in downtown LA at the Regal. That's going to be a great night. So everybody come out, support. There's a whole block of great films that we're honored to be with. So yeah, it's going to be a great night. And yeah, Facebook, Instagram with Forever Caroline. There's a comma in there, but yeah, here we go. Thank you so much, Renee.
Here we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
I'm going to take a very, very quick break here just to reboot my computer, and then we'll pop back on with the next film. Thank you guys for being here and supporting the festival.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. Like, as for me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. That's the risk you take.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Cynthia. Thank you for being patient for the reboot here. My computer has been occasionally like petering out here, so I had to pop onto another device. Thank you for being here and being a part of this conversation. Tell us a little bit about your film and
it's called No Choice, and it's a 7-minute proof of concept.
Oh, I love this.
Actually from a feature screenplay that we have some producers interested in, and we wanted to make the short film to kind of help push that forward. We were fortunate enough to get to premiere recently at LA Shorts and are really looking forward to our screening here at Femme. It's definitely a very female-centric story, so Femme is the perfect festival for it, honestly. It is based on a true story. The feature screenplay, we actually call it more like The Notebook meets Sophie's Choice. It's based on a true story that happened during World War II. My friend Julie Kohner, it's her parents' love story. They were young lovers in Teplitz, Czechoslovakia, a beautiful town right on the border of Germany when the Germans invaded. And he was able to escape to Los Angeles because he had family living here who was able to, his brothers both lived here and were able to take him in. But she was stuck there and survived 4 concentration camps, the 3rd of which was Auschwitz. And that's where our story takes place, where she had a heartbreaking decision to make. She found herself pregnant at Auschwitz, and that's a death sentence. So she has to figure out a way to terminate the pregnancy to save her life. And we feel this is topical right now because of Roe v. Wade being overturned, and also just the state of things in our world right now. It's very timely, but it's an intimate story between 2 women. And both of the women became well known after the war. The main character, Hannah Kohner, in 1953, she was the first Holocaust survivor to tell the United States audiences about what had happened to her. She appeared on a show called This Is Your Life. Meanwhile, the character that I play in the film, Dr. Gisela Pearl, was known as the Angel of Auschwitz. She published a book afterwards. She was a Hungarian Jewish prisoner who was also a doctor. And she was working for Dr. Mengele. But secretly at night, she was performing abortions to save women's lives, hundreds of women's lives. And Hannah Kohner was one of them. And that's what our story is. It's a dark story at a dark time, but we feel very important for what we're going through and what we're living through right now.
Wow. Thank you for bringing a story to this platform. I mean, this seems to be such an incredible feat to overcome and just the execution of bringing this to the film platform, but also I'm curious if you'll talk a little bit about what was the most creative challenge that you faced while bringing this story to life.
Well, as it is with most short films, money, funding. But we were incredibly fortunate that we entered a short film script competition run by the Claims Conference, the Jewish Claims Conference, and we were a finalist in it and won the money that funded the film and also funded our applications to film festivals. So we were very fortunate in that regard. We were also fortunate in that the comment that we keep getting from everyone is about the authentic set design. Ironically, it's my in-laws' garage that we filmed in.
Wow.
Had what looks like the exact bunk beds. I actually went to, out here at the Reagan Library, they had the traveling Auschwitz exhibit, and I went there for 3 difficult long hours. It was quite an experience, but they actually had one of the bunk beds from Auschwitz there traveling with the show, as well as many pictures. And ours just happens to be an almost identical replica. So we were very fortunate in that. And we've gotten many comments back about, like I said, in quotes, the authentic set design. We're like, yeah, we got very lucky. So I'm the co-producer of the film along with my husband, Peter Hunziker. We also co-directed it. I ended up playing one of the roles, which I hadn't originally planned on doing, but I have a theater background, and it was actually kind of interesting and fun to be in front of the camera for a change. I played Dr. Gisela Pearl. So we were blessed to have very good friends who were talented writer actors who played the roles. Monique Sorgen, Susan Mark, Denise Carlson, and Joseph Purdy were all amazing in it, and all did it, out of friendship for us. Since it's a 7-minute short film too, we were able to shoot it in 2 days. So that helped.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that experience. I just got back from Europe and I had the privilege, but a tough day of visiting a concentration camp. And it's energetically, it's such an incredibly tough experience to be immersed in that. And I'm curious if you'll just talk to us a little bit about, as a filmmaker, how did it being in that, recreating that space, inspire you to finish making this story and kind of like what does this look like for you as a storyteller?
Sure. Well, I also on the side, I'm sorry, my lighting is doing strange things here. I know I look like I'm in a fog bank or something. My normal ring light is
going in and out.
Isn't working, of course. Well, first off, I hear what you're saying about going through a concentration camp. I felt that way with the 3 hours I spent at the Auschwitz exhibit. I've never actually, but I plan to go to the concentration camps in Europe. I'm sure that must have been so difficult. I teach beginning and advanced screenwriting at UCLA. And one of my beginning students who took the class for an entire year was Julie Kohner, whose mother's true story this is. And at the end of the year of studying with me, she handed me her parents' book. It's called Hannah and Walter, A Love Story. Like I said, it's very much like The Notebook in many respects. A lot of the story of the feature is more about what led up to them being torn apart by the war. We're seeing that happen so much around the world right now. I was just hearing a story about young lovers that were in Ukraine and torn apart. And so I'm, very moved by human emotional stories like this. So Julie handed me her parents' book and said, please read it. By the way, her parents wrote the book, Hannah and Walter Kohner, with Frederick Kohner, who was Walter Kohner's brother. And he also wrote all the Gidget books. So, they had a little bit of a literary background of their own to tell this story. But I had the hardest time reading this book. I had to keep putting it down because I couldn't see out of my tear-stained eyes. It affected me so much. And after I finished reading it, Julie and I got together and I said, what can we do with this? And she said, let's write it together. So we spent 2 years writing the feature screenplay. We had some interest from a studio in it, still do have that interest, but we're making these short films to kind of push it forward. Also, it's become just a passion for me to be able to tell Julie's mom's story. Her parents passed away a number of years ago, so I never had the pleasure of meeting them, but Julie and I have become such close friends in working together on this project that it means the world to me. And she actually was able to come in town to see the premiere of the film at LA Shorts in July. So I was very excited about that. She lives in Nashville now, so it's a little harder. I don't think she's going to be able to make it to the screening, but she's very excited about it nonetheless.
Well, we are very excited that you're screening here at our festival too, and we want to make sure that we get people to actually see this film live. So if you'll let us know, when is the screening at the festival?
Sure, it is.
So how to follow. Sorry, just as a button to that, and then how we can continue to follow your work and this film after the festival.
Absolutely. So it is screening on Saturday, October 18th at 6 o'clock. It's screening prior to a feature documentary, I believe. And it's in Theater 13. Probably the best way to follow me is on Facebook. And I'm just under Cynthia Riddle on Facebook. And we also have a website that we're putting the screening time on. Our website is huddleentertainment.com. And that's Huddle, Huddle. It's a combination of my husband's and my name, Hunziker and Riddle. We also like the idea of the huddle, you know. And the other thing that I will mention is, we had such a good experience with this one. We are planning on making another short film. There's another thing that happened at Auschwitz to Hannah. She and her fellow prisoners took the risk of celebrating Hanukkah secretly. And we wrote a short script of that we took out of the feature. It's called Light. And we just found out that it's a finalist in Pittsburgh's short film and script competition. And they're going to actually do a staged reading of it in November 23rd. And we could possibly win $1,000 prize on that, which would help us fund that one. So our scripts are getting funding for our short films, which is really a great way of doing things.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to support your work. Thank you.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully Light will be at next year's Femme Festival of all.
Yes. Putting that out there, universe, putting it out there. Thank you, Sophia, for being here. I'm looking forward to
you. Take care. Thanks. See you at the movies.
Hi, Jana.
Hi.
How are you? Thank you so much for being here and for being patient in that waiting room. I'm speaking to so many incredible people. I'm having a hard time buttoning up my conversation, but I want to make sure that I don't miss talking about this film. This is such a unique project, has such cultural importance. I would love for you to speak about your inspiration for your film, the call to action of your film, and what it feels like to be screening at this festival.
Yeah, thank you. Jenna, I'll start it off with just talking about Black Cake. I'm from New York originally. I'm actually here in Los Angeles now. And the idea of Black Cake came when I started acting when I was 23 and doing some theater and some projects in New York. I learned that there isn't a broad opportunity for Indo-Caribbean artists. And while I was being represented by some managers, I was being typecast a lot for South Asian roles, but I don't necessarily fit into the South Asian space. So I was producing my own work here and there, and nothing was really coming to fruition. And at some point I realized, you know what? There just aren't any stories about Indo-Caribbean families or women or men. I mean, there might be small pockets here and there, but just not broad enough for people to recognize who and what I am, and probably the reason why I'm struggling to fit in anywhere in the industry. And I really wanted to showcase the culture while pairing it with a universal theme that anyone and everyone can watch the film and really recognize themselves in it as well. So it's not just for Indo-Caribbean women, it's for all women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that you say that the visibility for an Indo-Caribbean woman. I'm sorry. I'm like, look, I mean, isn't that now? But I can't even wrap like my brain around saying that. Like, which is why this visibility is so incredibly important, because you deserve to be the protagonist in your own story. And I think so many BIPOC stories are superfluous, and they should not be. So I am proud to be educating myself through this film. Jana, if you'll piggyback on what Keisha said, this experience for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I found out about Black Cake through a casting call that Keisha put out through the acting school that we both went to. And we didn't go at the same time, but we put out newsletters for alumni projects. And when I read about Black Cake, I loved it because it is that universal story of this family of women and what they're going through, but it also is culturally specific, and it's of a culture that I had never seen on screen. And during acting school, I decided I wanted to pursue producing. And so when I saw this story about this community that's underrepresented, those are the kinds of stories I want to tell. I just reached out to Keisha and the team and said, how can I help? How can I get involved? And they welcomed me with open arms, brought me in from the very beginning, and I was able to give feedback on the script, help with getting the casting call out, and then really just get more set experience as I transitioned into a producing career.
I love that. You know, speaking to so many different people on this platform today about kind of their journey into their film and giving it a voice, I wonder if you guys would speak a little bit about what does success for you as filmmakers and also success for your film look like? What words of inspiration can we give to fellow female filmmakers trying to get their content out in the world?
I was actually just talking to Jen about this earlier. I think one thing that came up in our conversation is I feel that, well, especially for women, like we're always taught to be small and play small. And especially for women of color, I mean, we were just taught to survive. And like not be big, not really show our faces or do anything, or we weren't really taught to celebrate ourselves. And I feel like, just own the space, be you and be collaborative. And we're all here doing the same thing and trying for the same thing. And I think that really showed up in our crew once we had our crew. I mean, we were talking about this earlier today that like our big success for Black Cake so far has been the crew that we developed. It was a mostly female driven crew, but it was just the collaboration and the openness and the sensitivity towards like the project itself, and everyone just shining through their own talents was just such a beautiful thing to witness. And we shot this within three days. So to witness that for like 3 days straight was like, I was floored, and I was so like, I don't know if it's impressed is the word, but just like, wow, this is really happening. Like everyone's so freaking amazing on this set, and they're just being themselves, and just owning who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the first set that I'd been on, and I was spoiled by it, honestly. I like, to me, it also became a gold standard of the sets that like I create in the projects that I work on. But there were so many women behind the scenes. It was so collaborative, and I think just like seeing everyone support each other, get this all done in this like home in Queens in 3 days. It just was very inspiring. And to me, it's not really a surprise that the project turned out so well, because Keisha, Megan, and Izzy really worked hard to create that culture in a team to get this done.
Oh, I love that. Well, I want to make sure, I feel like I could talk to you guys forever, but we have a clip of your film and I want to make sure we have enough time to get to it.
Yeah.
So if you'll share with our audiences when we can actually see this film at the festival, and then a little bit about how we can follow both of your work and learn more about you and your film and the future of this project beyond this festival.
So the film's going to be shown on October 18th on Saturday at 4 p.m. or within the 4 p.m. block. And you can follow us at Black Cake Film on Instagram, so just at Black Cake Film, and or you can follow me at Keisha Bisram, just my name. And future of this film, I mean, this is going to be just floating through film festivals for the next year or so, but realistically, my goal and my dream is to stretch this out into a feature film.
Yes,
You know,
say
have
it.
someone look at it and be like, yeah, I want to fund that.
Yes, put that out there.
Yeah, because these ladies, like these characters need to be seen and we need to see more of them. And, you know, I feel like it's just a little taste and we need a feature-length film for it.
Speaking of a little taste, let's slide off to a clip of Black Cake. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks.
Best of luck.
Hi.
Hi, Trina. Welcome. Thank you for waiting in queue here. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about your film, Ball Lightning, and how you got it to LA Femme Film Festival. What inspired you to create this work and its relevance here?
Well, thank you, first of all, so much for having me, and thank you so much for letting me talk about Ball Lightning. The film is about a refugee from post-World War II East Germany in the 1960s, and who emigrated to the United States. The film is inspired by the woman who raised me, so it's a true story. And I think it's really relevant for right now in our time because it's about an immigrant who really overcame so many different things to come to find freedom. And she sacrificed so much in her life for that. And then I found LA Femme because at first I think it's Ball Lightning is also a love story of a mother to a daughter. And I think that is so relevant to women's stories across the world. And it's really also, it's dedicated to the main character's daughter, who she had to give up, that she lost because of war. So she gave her across the Berlin Wall so that she would have a better life and freedom.
Thank you so much for sharing this. As human being to human being, I have not had the opportunity to see your film, but I love that you say that this is a love story between a mother and daughter. As a creator myself, I'm currently writing a story, but my mother just passed in February, and we were estranged for 25 years, and that is my log line. It's a love story between a mother and daughter, and how important that relationship is. So I'm excited to see this work. And, my next question was going to be, what is the call to action with this film, and what is the cultural or societal importance of this right now with what's happening in the world? I'm wondering if you could speak to that a little bit, because without even having seen your film, you've already inspired me just talking to you. So I'm curious what it feels like to be here at the festival.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. So I think it was relevant during COVID because I was really, as we all were, stuck. And I was thinking during that time about the woman who raised me, who had survived the pandemic of 1918. She survived World War I, World War II, and she survived fascism. And with all of that, she ended up being the most compassionate, caring woman I've ever met in my life. And I think right now it's incredibly timely because we're talking about all of the different things that are happening in the world right now. We're talking about surviving war, surviving fascism, being compassionate, being loving, being caring for one another, and being a mother, and how much being a mother comes across in all sorts of things that we do, that sort of female empowerment, that giving and caring for one another. I think that's something that we really have to hang on to if we're going to survive and stay compassionate ourselves.
I thank you for sharing that. I love that you speak to female empowerment, and it's such an integral part of this festival. And I'm wondering if in the context of women's voices in cinema, if you'll talk, generally around that issue and why it is so important that these stories are amplified.
Well, I think as far as women's issues, I think our stories have to be amplified because we are the majority of the population, but the minority of voices that get heard.
Yeah.
And our voices really matter. And it's not just women; it's intersectional women. So I think it's it is the female gaze entirely. Like that is so much of it. Involves compassion. It involves a lot of my other work, which is about preventing violence against women, and in this particular film there's violence against women, and it's about overcoming that and trying to make a world in which we don't have violence anymore, and that we create a world in which we are more compassionate. One thing that I haven't mentioned yet in this interview is that I want to do a shout out to my team. I worked with my students and my colleagues and my former graduates from Lesley University in our animation department. So it is very much a school project with all the people that I work with. So.
Oh, I think that's so sweet that you give a shout out. I was going to ask you, when I do sometimes a round of little quick fire questions, and I wanted you to answer, how do you see yourself in one word as a filmmaker? And I think I could answer that for you, but I'm curious what your one word is.
I was going to say teacher.
Yeah! I was going to say educator, I swear. We are so on the same page, but I love that you bring up your crew and that important piece to give them a shout out. I was like, she's an educator.
Yeah, and my crew is amazing. And what I think is so exciting about teaching and what's so exciting about this film is it really is a way of collaboration, right? And working with my recent grads and with all the students, and also my colleagues, my sound designer, Robert Gifford, who teaches sound at Lesley Art and Design, did the sound design for this. But the recent grads and my students would come up with these incredible solutions that I could never even have thought of. I knew they were my students, but they have their own way of looking at things and their own ideas. And we really would come together all and think about what are the best solutions for these shots. And for 5 years, it really was we built a community, and we built this community in COVID when we really needed it, and it's lasted. And one of my crew members, Hannah Sincata, is actually coming out to LA Femme to represent the film, and I'm just so excited for her. This is, I think, one of her first major film festivals to be at, and I'm thrilled. I'm just so honored, and it's really because I have to be back in the classroom. So.
Oh, well, I want to make sure that we get our butts in the seats and support you and Hannah. And will you let us know when the film is actually screening at the festival? And then also let our audiences know how we can follow your work and continue to support you beyond the festival.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so the film is it's screening on Sunday the 19th. And while we're talking about it, I also want to point out the painting behind me. A lot of a third of the film is done with actual oil paintings on panel, and they are large like this. And then the rest of the paintings are done, there's 110 watercolor backgrounds in it and 52 oil paintings that are in the film. And then we worked with TV paint over that. So I think that wasn't answering your question, but
no, you definitely did. And hopefully we'll get glimpses of some of those images in your clip now. Thank you, Tuna, for joining us. And please stick around, you guys, for a clip here of Ball Lightning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Summers, my mother sent me away to live with my grandmother in Gusta. That is where I learned to love and be loved. Gusta came from another world. She had a past that she kept to herself. There were rumors of a fire placed behind a wall. A daughter handed to strangers. And a word I did not know. Refugee.
Wow. Wayne, thank you for, it's amazing. I don't know how long you've been on board with these conversations. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited to talk to you. I hear your film is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf asks. So I'm excited to talk to you about your process of bringing this to the festival. And what's it been like to co-create and collaborate with this amazing community of people?
It is amazing. Thank you. Thanks for having me for the interview. The writer and creator of Reminisce is Ashna Sharon. She couldn't be here today, unfortunately, but she is an amazing actor and phenomenal writer. And anytime she has a story to tell, I will do what I can to help her bring that story to the screen. And so for this one, she wrote it, and I helped associate produce. I also did as much as I could, and I'm also acting in it alongside her. The story itself is another in a series of stories that she tells about from a woman's perspective. And my goal is to help women tell their stories and to help underrepresented groups as well tell their stories as best I can help them do that. And so she assembled an amazing team to tell this story, which included some folks from a previous film that she had put into the festival circuits last year called Shame. And that one did very well, and this one is doing very well in the festival circuit as well. So I'm very pleased with what she's been able to do and been able to accomplish. And I'm so grateful to have been part of this team to help bring her stories to life.
Thank you so much for speaking on the issue of amplifying female voices too. I'm curious if you'll talk a little bit about that. You know, we've had a few men on today, and I'm curious what, from the male perspective, how do you what is your role in amplifying the voice of women? And you know, one of my favorite quotes, I'm probably butchering it a little bit, but I think Benjamin Franklin said, when those of us are just as enraged about the things that we're not affected by, I'm totally butchering it. But I do feel like men being a part of this conversation is important. I'm curious from your perspective, what it feels like to amplify the voice of female artists.
So for me, it's do whatever I can to help at any stage of this process to get these stories to the screen or to the stage or to a place where an audience can see it, hear it, read it. And so for me, that ends up being helping out financially. I've also been producing and executive producing and actually producing some additional works that Ashna specifically has written and created. So we have 2 additional films in post-production right now, and one we're about to film next weekend that we're co-producers, and I'm actually going to direct that one that she's written. And so whatever role I can play to help that happen is my commitment to get these stories to as many eyes and ears as I can.
Oh, I love that. I'm wondering if you'll speak a little bit about the community and community building on set. I'm curious. I like to hear the backstage pass stories a little bit. You mentioned you were an actor on the set. What was it like to be on this set and work with this group of women?
Oh, it was amazing. So Ashna was able to pull in a lot of folks in key positions in the crew. This film was directed by Leslie Morris, who had a beautiful eye and has created, I think, some wonderful images in this film, and just created a beautiful film. And a lot of the creative crew just worked very well together, which has been the case for every single one of the sets that Ashna has put together. And as you know, it's a community that we create. It's a community of collaborative creatives. And so it's the magic that comes with it. It's alchemy, really, to have a set that creates something that's amazing, but also creates an experience, creates a moment in time that we all can be proud of. So there's the product, of course, but there's also the process. And that process must be fulfilling. That process must lead to something that includes continuing relationships with people that you find you want to spend more time with creating, or spend more time with as a human. And so it's the memories of having done that will always be with us. And the promise to create more of those memories. So as a human relating with other humans on something that's an important, worthwhile project. I say worthwhile because a lot of projects are just projects that I found as an actor, but the ones that are really worthwhile, the ones that tell an amazing story and that bring with them a lot of people's just best work are so fulfilling. And I almost feel guilty for having these kinds of very fulfilling experiences with a group of humans looking to do the same thing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I like that you mentioned those experiences. Sometimes the acting is just the work. I had a co-star role where all I said is, "Bob, can I get a price check over there?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I'm an artist. I don't know if I'm feeling it." Right? I love that you're talking a little bit about being on the set. Were there any like happy accident moments that when you talk about alchemy, like where all of a sudden something that wasn't planned turned into magic on the set?
Well, that's a very good question. So for this particular project, I don't know if there were any happy accidents. There was a lot of work, of course, a lot of rehearsals. There are some kind of intricate scenes and a lot of things that had to be pulled together to create some of the transitions. But the themes that Ashna had put together were personal to her. And I think just the happy accident is the cast that we were to put together, the crew, of course, but the cast worked so well together that I think there was a lot of general camaraderie, a lot of real kind of relationship fuel that was created by the cast that was assembled for this role. I think so. It's not really an accident. It's a lot of work to cast a film well, but the fact that we were able to get these 4 people onto the set and working together, I think that was I think one of the best happy accidents that we could have hoped for.
Oh, I love that. Well, we have a clip of your film, so we want to make sure that we get to that. But I'm wondering if you could button this up a little bit with just telling us what you think the call to action is for this film.
So the call to action for this film is as I mentioned, it is a personal story, or it relates to some of the things that Ashna has gone through. So the theme is age gap love. So the husband and wife have an age gap of about 25 years, and which is related to Ashna's own experience, where her husband is 10 years older than she, and she had some experiences with some judgment about that age gap. but also a potentially inappropriate relationship between a professor and a student, which is related to her grandparents. That's a story that is from her family. And so bringing these two ideas together, and the theme is love enough. It is real, true love. What really matters when society can layer on top of that, there's an age gap, which society might have a problem with, and also a potential difference in power dynamics, a power imbalance potentially. They could have affected this relationship in its infancy. So these two ideas hitting up against what is truly a loving marriage and some past information coming to light, and what that does to a marriage of 10 years that has been going very well, and then suddenly some ideas or questions start being raised about that relationship.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I want to make sure that we get to a clip here. Will you tell us when your film is screening at the festival so we can get our butts in the seats? And then what is the future for this project after this festival? And then we'll pan to a clip.
So this is this weekend, and I have, well, where is it? I had it right in front of me, and now I don't have the time slot right in front of me at the moment.
Don't worry, we'll edit this part out.
So the time is, you can start your time right here, and there you are. That's when it's screening. Why isn't it on my calendar? But this film is also at a variety of other festivals. In fact, there's one coming in 2 weeks in the Southwest premiere, and we had one last week in the Midwest premiere. So it is. Is
there a website where we can follow you to continue to support this film?
Oh yes, and so Reminisce the Short Film is the Instagram handle, and also Facebook. So at Reminisce the Short Film. Reminisce the Short Film.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate you being here. And yeah,
well, thank you.
You got it. You've been a delight. This has been so much fun today.
No, you've been a delight.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let's peek at a clip of Reminisce.
Didn't mean to make you my medicine. Forgot what it feels like to look within. And there you go again, scraping me off the floor. You're too tired to do that anymore. I got this song and it's stuck in my head. It's the sound of your smile, it's the taste of your breath. I don't know.
You know, in the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars, and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. Like, as for me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. Like, that's the risk you take.
the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Because what you're seeing on television right now is history in terms of where decisions are being made today.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
What are recommendations for packaging?
Getting to the right person at the right time, and you have the right piece of the package that they want to see.
And be able to adjust, because the plan will never execute exactly as you plan it.
If you set aside money for social media, for a publicist, for marketing, things like that, and really you don't have to sit behind those dollars and you can have more control of your own release.
You can't go wrong. Like, as for me, I knew that my episode was either going to be awesome or fine. Like, that's the risk you take.
Hi, Natalie.
Hello.
All right, close us out strong. I'm excited to be chatting with you. My goodness. So you are a first-time documentary filmmaker and producer, and I am so enticed to hear more about how you self-finance this project. So please tell us a little bit about what it feels like to be on this stage and how you got here.
Yeah, so extremely surreal. And I think the crazy thing is we did not set out to make a documentary at all. Our project was very much social media led when we were doing it. And then we realized that we had all this footage that had resonated with thousands and thousands of people around the world, and that maybe we should do something with it to tell the story from end to end. And so hence the project was born. And really, I did not have a huge idea of what I was doing, to be totally upfront and honest. It wasn't my area of expertise. But soon learnt very quickly, and then it's gone crazy since. We've distributed it on airlines. It's gone crazy on YouTube. So it's been pretty amazing.
I love hearing that too. The fact that you didn't entirely have a plan. I think that's part of the problem with perfectionism, right? We never begin because we're supposed to have a definitive plan. So I think that's the most inspiring message of today. Seriously, way to close us out. So I'm curious, the filmmaking process seems to be so different and so individual for each person and each filmmaker. And I'm wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about what was that moment from like the gestation idea phase to filming this project where it just clicked and you knew this was an important story to tell?
Yeah, I think, when I started out to do this run, it was a very, I guess, not selfish, but self-centered thing, maybe to prove something to myself and other people. So the idea was we're just going to capture some content, mainly for sponsors along the way. But after day one, we were getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views on the content. So it exploded. And then it really was story driven rather than, we need to force this story. It was like, we had no idea what we were doing, what was going to happen. And I think that's what made it so genuine. And then, all of these hundreds of hours of footage, a combination of social media footage. So just filmed on iPhone, and then some filmed by the crew that we had with us. And this crew were not documentary makers either. They came along out of the goodness of their heart, the camera guys. So this was something new for them. So it literally was amateur hour. And then I put it in the hands of someone who had could edit something like this at the end to try and then retell that story in 60 minutes rather than across 12 days.
That sounds amazing. So did you feel like, I asked this to the last filmmaker, but it seems very apropos to ask you as well. Were there any kind of magical moments on set or like happy accidents since you were kind of flying by the seat of your pants, where you're like, I didn't know this would come together like this? I'd love to hear one of those testimonials.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times, we didn't know what to expect because no one had sort of run across these three countries. And it really was a combination between you are so exhausted, I'm running 14 hours a day, to these happy moments of we're in a school in a part of Thailand that I'm the first Caucasian person that these kids have ever seen. And there's a 7-year-old boy coming up to me telling me that I've inspired him to dream big. And obviously me breaking down and crying. And I think the other thing that seemed to resonate with a lot of people as part of the story, which that we managed to capture, was about halfway through, and I sort of again broke down. I've never cried so much in my life. And someone asked me, why am I doing this? And I think at that point it was like to show women that they can go and achieve amazing things no matter what age. And at that point, our audience grew even more. And, it resonated not just with women, but with men facing, where do they fit in the world once they get to a certain age? So I think capturing nuggets that were so genuine and real and live, that's not scripted, was what became magical.
Oh, I love you sharing that. I was just having a conversation this morning about, I was jokingly saying, that dream we all have as little kids where we have like a superpower where we're like, and my superpower I always wanted as a little kid was to be invisible. And then I'm like, then I turned 45 and I got my wish. Who knew? That was the secret. But there's something to be said about that, where the visibility of can we tell our stories after a certain point. So I love that. To even make that parallel between both of our stories is so interesting to, I think it's important to amplify our voices over 45, especially. I'm curious if you'll talk a little bit about, like when I was reading your bio, how it's currently showing globally on Singapore Airlines. How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I actually placed it with a distributor, again, not knowing how the film business works, or this part of that works, and it was picked up with them for the next 3 months, which is fantastic. So it's so beautiful receiving messages from strangers who are screenshotting it and posting it on social media, which is wonderful. And then we popped it on YouTube. And I think we're at 350,000 views in 6 months with just throwing it up there to see what happens. So, I think people are looking for real content now, not, like you said, not overly scripted, something that is more relatable. And I think, this is definitely not a polished documentary. There's parts in it where I'm like, oh, sound doesn't quite work there or something, but it is what it is. And I think the rawness of it actually reflects the story. And so maybe that's the sort of the beauty in it as well. But it's definitely not an overproduced, scenic documentary.
I'm so excited to see this. I haven't been able to see every film of this festival, but I want to make sure that my butt is in the seat and other people's butts are in the seat to support your film at the festival. So will you share with the audience when we can actually see you at La Femme? And then give us a little bit about where we can follow your work beyond this festival to continue to support you.
Yeah, sure. So I am airing Friday afternoon, I believe. So Project 1000 Believe is the documentary name. And I think we learned from the first one. So I've actually got a second one in production at the moment that is filmed much differently with a Nat Geo team. And we're sort of, learned lessons from the first. I recently did the similar run, but in the Philippines this time. So we're telling a very different story for the second one that's in edit now. So if people would like to follow along, the best way is via my social media, which is Natalie Dow, DAU, and all my updates are coming there. And then otherwise, the YouTube channel is Project 1000 Run.
Awesome. I'm excited to support you. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. We are going to close out a clip with a clip of Project 1000 Believe. Thank you, Natalie, for being our headliner for these.
Thank you for staying up late for me. It's morning my time and late for you. So thank you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. I'm excited to catch your film. Thank you guys for joining us. And here, please stay on board to watch a clip of this beautiful film. Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you, Renee.
And she's on! Right, Dad, you're ready to go. Let's go!
How's your hip? What's the update all around? Yeah, so day one, we went out a little bit hard, I think, hence the hip problem.
Feeling a bit tired, still not getting enough sleep.
Day 3 is going to be tough.
It's almost again. Same, no different, lad. Legs are good, bladder not so good.
The woman is one tough chick.
Thank you very much.
500 kilometers in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, 500 guys. Let's bring it home. I really want to prove to women out there that they can do it. As you get older, you lose your identity, but you can still go and achieve things that are meaningful to you.